And the topic given to me today is the evidence of association with other non-communicable diseases. So, as you all know, the NAFLD or the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has a wide spectrum and which is quite variable. Most of the patients with NAFLD has only fatty liver without any fat, inflammation or hepatocyte ballooning. Almost 25% of the individuals in the general population has only NFL, not further severe disease related to NAFLD. So these patients generally have good outcome and no further progression of liver disease in such patients. Almost 20% of the individuals who are having fatty liver develop non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, inflammation or hepatocyte ballooning, and this is a more severe form of NAFLD, which may lead to more advanced fibrosis. Some patients develop cirrhosis, some develop further progression of liver disease in form of hepatocellular carcinoma. So aim of our NAFLD treatment is to prevent the progression of liver disease from NAFLD to NASH and from NASH to further fibrosis progression and development of cirrhosis. So NAFLD is not only the disease of liver, but it also associated with the other non-communicable diseases and the metabolic syndrome. So you can see that the NAFLD is associated with the higher prevalence of diabetes, chronic kidney disease, cardiovascular diseases, osteoporosis. So there are multiple associations of NAFLD with other systemic diseases, and this lead to multiple comorbidities in these patients. As you can see here, the NAFLD prevalence in patient who is obese is around 60 to 90%. So most of the obese individuals have underlying NAFLD and diabetes. The patient with the presence of metabolic syndrome have very high prevalence of NAFLD in the community. So this was one of the consensus position paper published by the in a liver society from India, and they have shown that the NAFLD is considered as a hepatic component of the metabolic syndrome. Like the other components of metabolic syndrome, like the presence of the impaired blood sugar, presence of obesity, or the central obesity, or dyslipidemia, or diabetes, or hypertension. So NAFLD is a hepatic component of the metabolic syndrome, and there is a bidirectional link. So presence of the metabolic syndrome increases the risk of development of NAFLD, and conversely, the NAFLD presence increases the risk of metabolic syndrome. And not only the metabolic syndrome is associated with NAFLD, but the presence of the metabolic syndrome is associated with the more severe form of the NAFLD, like the presence of the NASH or the NASH-related fibrosis or cirrhosis. So the metabolic syndrome presence in a patient with NAFLD is important because it determines the severity of the liver disease and the further complications. And these patients are generally have the increased risk of development of cardiovascular complications, CKD, and the extrahepatic malignancies. And some of the individuals who are having the NAFLD without any component of metabolic syndrome or also have the increased risk of these complications. So NAFLD is associated with metabolic syndrome and other non-communicable diseases, but sometimes even in the absence of the metabolic syndrome, like the patients who are having the lean NASH have the higher incidence of further complications without independent of the metabolic syndrome. So I will go one by one in discussing these points. So first, the association of the NAFLD with metabolic syndrome. So there are many studies, over a dozen large studies on the prevalence and the risk factor of NAFLD in a NAFLD individual. So I have picked up one of the studies from the Rotterdam group. This was a large study including the almost 2,800 participants. And they showed that the major risk factor for the NAFLD is the metabolic syndrome. So you can see here all the components of the metabolic syndrome: waist circumference, fasting blood sugar, more than 100, hypertension or triglyceridemia. All these are components of the metabolic syndrome, and they are independently associated with the increased risk of development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The more recently, the Indian studies have also shown the similar results. These are the study from the Chandigarh. They have shown that in the blood group donors, almost 50% have the fatty liver disease, and the risk factor for developing a fatty liver disease is now again the metabolic syndrome, the presence of the waist circumference, high BMI, dyslipidemia, systolic blood pressure, metabolic syndrome criteria, and age were found to be independent predictors of the NAFLD in the general population. So conversely, if you see the high prevalence of NAFLD in metabolic syndrome, you can see here in the general, as compared to the general population, in a patient who is in an individual who is diabetic, there is almost twofold higher prevalence of NAFLD in these individuals. Whatever criteria you diagnose NAFLD, the almost 2 to 3 times higher prevalence of NAFLD in diabetic as compared to general population. So more sensitive criteria using the MRI spectroscopy and have shown the very high prevalence of diabetes, almost up to the tune of NAFLD in diabetes, almost up to the tune of 70 to 80% of these individuals. And this data is not only limited to India, across the world. You can see here almost in an individual who is diabetic, the NAFLD is the prevalence is very high. Almost in Indian setting, it is almost 60%. So every 6 out of 10 of the 10 individual of diabetes is having the NAFLD. So this much common is NAFLD in a patient with metabolic syndrome. So major pathophysiology or pathogenesis of development of NAFLD in a patient with diabetes is the insulin resistance at the various levels, and at the site of the adipose tissue, at the site of the liver, or at the muscle. So insulin resistance, which is typically a pathognomic of type 2 diabetes, you can see here in patient with type 2 diabetes, the NAFLD prevalence is around 60 to 70%. But in those cases with type 1 diabetes, like where the insulin production is low or insulin sensitive, insulin beta cell destruction is there, the NAFLD prevalence is very low. So insulin resistance is associated with the presence of NAFLD in a patient with diabetes. So many of the patients with diabetes, you can see, we have the normal ALT, have no obesity. Still, even in the presence of the normal ALT in the lab parameters, and those who are diabetic and non-obese still have the 36% chances of prevalence of NAFLD in these individuals. These are called the lean NASH patient, and diabetes is a risk factor for development of NAFLD in these cases. Moreover, the obesity combined with diabetes in a patient, in an individual, make them more prone to development of NAFLD and more severe NAFLD. Like those individuals have the BMI of more than 35, almost 70% have NAFLD, and those individuals with diabetes and obesity with BMI more than 40, the NAFLD is almost universal. So this is the importance of the presence of diabetes and obesity in a individual, because these are the risk factor for development of NAFLD in these cases. So not only the single component of metabolic syndrome is important, but the multiple components combine to increase the risk of chances of developing NAFLD in future. So this was one of the large cohort study which included the patient who had no NAFLD at baseline, and these patients were classified based on the presence of the components of metabolic syndrome in these individuals. They have compared the individuals without metabolic syndrome components. Those who had the one metabolic syndrome component, like the presence of obesity alone, have almost twofold higher incidence of NAFLD. 2 metabolic syndrome, almost 2.5-fold higher. 3 metabolic syndrome, more than 3.5-fold higher incidence of NAFLD. So more the number of adverse risk factors, more the chances of developing NAFLD and severe NAFLD in the individuals. So now looking into the prevalence of metabolic syndrome in a patient with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So this is an important cartoon which has shown that the patient who are having the biopsy proven NAFLD or NASH, whatever is the severity, 1/3 had the NASH, almost 2/3 had only fatty liver disease without NASH. And in these individuals, the incidence of the prevalence of diabetes was and pre-diabetes was almost as compared to those patients who are having the no hepatic steatosis, where the prevalence of diabetes was 11%. So the presence of NAFLD at baseline is associated with the increased prevalence of diabetes and other components of metabolic syndrome in an individual. So the relation is bidirectional, and NAFLD increases metabolic syndrome, and metabolic syndrome increase of developing NAFLD in an individual. Not only the prevalence, but also the incidence and the long-term development of diabetes and metabolic syndrome is increased in patient who has NAFLD at baseline. And this was one of the classical studies. They have shown that those patients who had NAFLD, and these patients were followed up over a period of 10 to 15 years. Many of these individuals developed diabetes much more than the controls. And so presence of NAFLD at baseline is associated with the increased risk of developing incident diabetes over a prolonged follow-up as compared to the controls. So the studies are not limited. There are dozens of studies which have shown that the NAFLD is associated with the increased incidence of diabetes. So in an individual, if we treat the NAFLD as early stage as possible, not only the liver-related complications are decreased, but also the other components of metabolic syndrome, presence of non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular disease, CKD, and metabolic syndrome, all will decrease if we treat the NAFLD as early as possible. Similarly, the incident hypertension is in many studies have shown to be related to the NAFLD at baseline. So improving the insulin resistance not only improve the incidence of diabetes, but also hypertension and other. So this one of the study have shown that not only the presence of NAFLD is important, but also how the NAFLD is changed due to therapy or the lifestyle intervention has an impact on the development of the diabetes. So those patients who had the NAFLD resolution at 5 years, they had NAFLD at baseline, but the fatty liver disease improved after the intervention over 5 years, have no significant increase in the prevalence of the diabetes in the future. But those patients who had the progression of NAFLD from mild to severe fatty liver disease have the very high incidence of developing diabetes over 5 years. So early treatment of NAFLD improves the outcome, the chances of developing diabetes in the future. Now, how the severity of NAFLD is associated in the patient with metabolic syndrome. So whenever a patient comes to our clinic with a potential diagnosis of fatty liver disease, either diagnosed incidentally through ultrasound, through abnormal lab investigation, or the presence of the comorbid complications like diabetes, hypertension. So we need to characterize these patients, whether these are patients with high risk of progression to severe liver disease. Severe liver disease, I mean to say presence of NASH or presence of advanced fibrosis or cirrhosis or liver cancer. So the presence of the metabolic syndrome components like diabetes, obesity, and hypertension straight away put this patient in a high risk group with a further very high risk of progression to very severe forms of NASH, NAFLD, and these patients should be carefully treated and managed as early as possible to prevent the complications. So this was the study which was published last year in Hepatology. They have shown that the combination of the diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia not only increases the chance of developing NASH, but also increases the chance of developing cirrhosis and liver cancer. So diabetes per se individual increases the chance of liver cancer by twofold. So combination of diabetes, obesity, dyslipidemia increase the chance of development of liver cancer almost sixfold. So this is very important. These are very major complications which may be managed quite easily if we treat the NASH at an early stage, so that these complications can be avoided. So these are all the risk factors for the progression of NASH in NAFLD in an individual. So the bold ones are those complications, those risk factors which are associated with the NASH progression. You can see here the obesity, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, insulin resistance, all are the major risk factors which drive the NASH progression to cirrhosis and its further complication. So it is interesting to know how these NAFLD and metabolic syndrome are correlated, and what is the pathological link between the two entities. So in an individual who is obese, who is consuming lot of fat, lot of carbohydrates, lot of fat, so there is increased deposition of the fat in the adipose tissue. Moreover, in these patients, there is a lot of insulin resistance. So insulin resistance in the adipose tissue lead to increased lipolysis. So triglycerides from the adipose tissue in the body fat will mobilize, and the free fatty acids are released from the lipolysis of the triglyceride. The fatty acids will come into the liver. So the liver fatty acids is insulin resistance. So body has limited capacity to assimilate or to consume these extra lipids which are released from the adipocytes. So the fatty acid in the liver have either they are destroyed by the beta peroxidation of the fatty acids, or they are stored as the triglyceride or as the lipid droplets, or exported through the VLDL form. Whenever there is excess, increased production, decreased consumption, there is a production of the harmful fatty acids, which are called the lipotoxic lipids, like the ceramides or diacyl alcohol, etc. So, and these lead to ER stress, oxidative stress, inflammation, development of NASH, and progressive fibrosis. So initial event is the development of the insulin resistance at the adipose tissue. Later on, the development of insulin resistance occurs at the level of hepatocytes, then at the level of the muscles. So there is a de novo lipogenesis will be there. There will be decreased consumption of the excessive sugar production, which is there into the muscle due to the presence of the insulin resistance. So all this lead to the progressive inflammation and development of fatty liver disease and its severity. So now coming on to the association of the NAFLD with the cardiovascular diseases, CKD, and the malignancy. You can see here the NAFLD, there is a decreased insulin clearance due to increased insulin resistance. So there is hyperinsulinemia, increased glucose production is there. So there is diabetes, there is increased cytokine production due to lipotoxic fatty acids in the liver, which contribute to inflammation and atherosclerosis. And there is a myocardial dysfunction due to impaired ATP production, ischemia, perfusion injury, diastolic dysfunction. All these contribute to the cardiovascular events in a patient with NAFLD. And there is a cardiac structural disease in a patient with NAFLD. There is diastolic dysfunction, atherosclerosis, increased MI, increased valvular heart disease. So the most common cause of death in a patient with fatty liver disease is not the liver cirrhosis, but mainly related to the complications of metabolic syndrome or other non-communicable diseases like the cardiovascular events, malignancy. So these are the common cause of death in a patient with NAFLD. And there are multiple longitudinal as well as cross-sectional studies which have shown the association of the cardiovascular disease with the NAFLD in a patient with diabetes. So many patients had the higher risk of cardiovascular events in the presence of the NASH and metabolic syndrome. So in early phase of the NAFLD, without any NASH or without any severe fibrosis, the major cause of death is cardiovascular, malignancy, etc. But with the more severe forms of the NASH, more patient die of the liver-related complications. Proportionally, more deaths due to liver cancer, liver-related cirrhosis, and its complication. Still, the cardiovascular deaths are quite common in a patient who is having the NASH. So NASH is related to the increased cardiovascular mortality independent of the presence of the obesity. So you can see here the NASH-related dyslipidemia occurs even in the presence of absence or presence of the obesity. So in a patient who is having NAFLD, have the dyslipidemia with the decreased LDL particle size independent of the presence of the obesity, and decreased LDL particle size is associated with the increased risk of cardiovascular mortality and morbidity. Moreover, this was a study from India which has shown that the NASH patients or the fatty liver disease patients have the increased prevalence of renal dysfunction, So the presence of diabetes, raised ALT, and advanced fibrosis on elastography are the independent risk factor of the impaired renal function. And the patient who are had the NAFLD at baseline, if we follow these patients over years of follow-up, there are higher incidence of development of CKD, mainly due to development of diabetic nephropathy or metabolic kidney disease and development of advanced form of renal dysfunction. Moreover, the malignancy risk is increased in a patient with NAFLD. You can see here the incidence of liver cancer is increased almost sixfold in a patient with NAFLD, more in patients with NASH-related cirrhosis, where the incidence of development of new liver cancer is almost 3 to 5% per year. And the extrahepatic malignancy risk is also increased, the almost twofold increased risk of breast cancer, twofold increased risk of colorectal cancer, renal cancer, gastric cancer. All these risks are increased in a patient who is having diabetes and NAFLD. Moreover, what we are seeing more recently are the changing etiology of liver disease in a patient who is having the liver cirrhosis or cancer. More recent data, even from India, have shown that one of the major cause of liver disease and cirrhosis is NAFLD. Initially, it used to be viral hepatitis, alcohol. Now the NAFLD is upcoming and may, over a period of time, may cross viral hepatitis or alcohol as a leading cause of liver cirrhosis or liver cancer in the world. So to summarize my talk, the NAFLD, there are a lot of extrahepatic associations, mainly with the metabolic syndrome and the other components of the non-communicable diseases. The NAFLD and metabolic syndrome has a bidirectional relationship. Both increase both are correlated. And there is increase in risk of NAFLD in a patient with metabolic syndrome or individual components. More the number of metabolic syndrome components, more the increased risk of NAFLD is there. So NAFLD is a risk factor for developing long-term diabetes, other components of metabolic syndrome. So early prevention of NAFLD before they develop diabetes or other components of metabolic syndrome is important to overall prevent the further non-communicable disease and related complications. So metabolic risk factors increase the severity of NAFLD. It increases the risk of developing more severe form of NAFLD, like development of NASH, advanced fibrosis, liver cancer, cirrhosis. And the main pathogenetic link is the insulin resistance at various sites, be it at the adipose tissue level, muscle level, liver level, etc. And the relationship with the metabolic syndrome put the patient with NAFLD at a high risk of cardiovascular events, MI, stroke, and chronic kidney disease, malignancies, and which have a bearing on the management. Thank you for the kind attention, please.